Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are live. This is Brandon with Rags Riches. I am the CEO. I am the Supreme Ayatollah, and I am the Master and Commander, and I have a very special guest today, Korypto Stylist. How is life? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well, thanks. How are you? Happy birthday.
Thank you. I was telling you in the green room, this is about day 3 of my birthday, and I'm going to be sure. I mean, I've got bottles and bottles. All right. I'm trying to hydrate, and I got a birthday tonight too. Apparently, I was telling you, my friends, they love me. They love me to death. So
That's a sign that it was really, really fun.
yeah. Gosh, but I can't give up now. I can't give up now. It's only once a year you get 3 birthdays in a row, right?
I know, but is it with the same people every night or different people?
Different. Well, a hodgepodge, just different folks. I'm going out to dinner tonight, and then after dinner, all that other stuff. Yeah. So we should have a good time. Good time. So last time you and I spoke, you were you were launching your online Hex brand, crypto brand, et cetera, et cetera. Tell me how that's been going.
Well, I launched, I think, the night that we streamed. That same night my video came out. I didn't realize it was coming out that night, but it came out that night.
Yeah.
So, and then, it was good. It was really good to get feedback. And I thought what was really interesting was that a lot of people wanted to know more about fashion. They're like, okay, great. You talk about Hex and whatever. And it's not like I was anything, revelatory, but I think that maybe my take was just trying to make it super digestible for normal people.
Sure.
So, but it wasn't necessarily a new message. And so I got a lot of comments asking about fashion. But then how do you talk about fashion to this community, right? I mean,
Right.
The biggest thing in fashion right now are NFTs, which clearly is, a little bit of a hot topic. And I just wanted to stay away from anything too controversial. So I had to really think about what are things that we learn in fashion that could maybe be applicable to crypto. And then it was literally during the fashion weeks and just seeing all the stories around Virgil Abloh, the late Virgil Abloh, who passed away, the creative director of Off-White, and then the new creative director, Nigo, he's from Bape. He's a founder of Bape and is now the creative director of Kenzo.
Okay.
It was his first collection, and like Kanye West and Pharrell and like everybody came out to support him because he's like the godfather of street fashion.
Sure.
There's this whole like renewed interest of something that was already hot just became even hotter. So I was like, oh, that's really interesting because the way that streetwear was on the periphery of fashion is how crypto is on the periphery of finance right now. And that journey is similar. As I was reading more about it, I'm like, this is actually really similar. And then the whole supply and demand. So I'm like, let me just do a deep dive analysis and just see if I can come up with like parallels and make it into like a story, and then see if, there's anything that we can take away as a community to really help get the word out there about, our ecosystem and the brands of Hex and Pulse X and all the RH projects.
Yeah. So I guess when I think back, I guess the whole, like the streetwear, that changed the industry in a really big way, probably over the past, would you say 20 years or so?
Yeah. It's the past 20 years, but it really didn't hit big, like true virality until about 2017. When the Supreme and Louis Vuitton collaboration happened. And then right after that, Supreme sold for at a valuation of $2 billion, which is crazy. Like it's a little skate brand. Like I used to wear it. Like I used to know the creative director, the original creative director. He used to send me stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is cute. And I'd wear it. And, I knew it was cool, but, it was like little, like people were like, what's Supreme, and all my really snobby fashion friends, they didn't really understand it and they didn't know. And then, it just became this phenomenon, but it took a long time. I mean, it launched in 1994. It didn't go viral to 2017. And the amount that it took, in terms of the kind of celebrities that were following, the kind of collaborations they were doing, it took a lot, the compounded effect of all those things to go viral, right? And so,
And it seems like a lot of folks, they just kind of built their own world. They had money and they were able to create their own brands and just kind of punch through all the noise. And once you punch through all the noise, then it really picks up steam, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And I kind of see that same parallel with what we have going on here. We're trying to punch through the noise. We've got the resources now as a community. So I think that's where people like you, it's going to be very important to be kind of ambassadors and kind of show us what it's going to look like moving forward. What would you, we had some ideas about that. We had some idea. You talked about, how are we going to brand this ecosystem? How are we going to glue everybody together? What are your thoughts on that with fashion or whatever the case may be?
I mean, I think there's a lot of elements from lifestyle that we can draw from, whether it be from a collaboration with Coca-Cola to a collaboration with Tesla to what, Motley did with Daytona. I thought that was brilliant. That was a really good first move.
Yeah.
Clothing brands, luxury brands, that's going to be the obvious play because they're going to want to get in close. The more and more they learn about our community, the more that we're going to be sitting front row, and they're going to want in and to have relationships with us because of our spending power.
Yeah.
So, I think that it's really important now to position ourselves with and align with brands that maybe I got a lot of emails saying Louis Vuitton. I'm like, okay, great, but we got to walk before we run. Like it's too early. They're too, you know what I mean? Like let's go with something that's kind of more culty and super cool. And let's figure out if we can do an event and have, a Hexagon host it and get a lot of people to show up and, and really show that and really flex and show what we're able to do when we are behind something. And I think that will make so much noise across all platforms of media,
that's a
beyond
good point.
crypto and finance. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking in the green room, Brandon, and we were saying that, the business of fashion is the Wall Street Journal of fashion, right? And there was this huge article that came out, actually, Crypto Fashion sent it to me, and it's about how luxury brands need to start looking at the wealthy and people who've made it in crypto as the new tech startup, what used to be, that's what they would go after. And now we need to look at the crypto people, but we don't know, there's no relationships, with owners of crypto. So they just travel in such different circles. So I think that we have an opportunity because I think we can understand this and that we need to do this to really go to brands and say, okay, great. I have this group of people. We pull them together, get one of them to host it. We can have a chunk show, and I guarantee you'll make $1 million. They would die for this, and not to mention it's super cool. So, and then we would all talk about it within our communities. We would make so much noise about their brand that we're, actually really elevating their brand. So, yeah, that's
wow.
how I see it.
So with your connections and stuff, you're hot on this right now, right? You've already started.
Yeah, I've started. I've started.
I'm looking forward, dude. I think that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. Like, everything that you said makes complete sense. And I am somewhat of a moron when it comes to branding, but I like that idea. It's like, we don't wait for anybody else. We get it together. We do it ourselves. We can do it small at first, make sure it's small, but it's a solid foundation for things to pop off later on.
Yeah.
And get everybody on the same page. I like that a lot.
But Brandon, it's not necessarily fashion brands. Like, do you like Under Armour? Do you wear Under Armour?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Under Armour. And I had a meeting with Kinetics last night and he was wearing Under Armour. And that's one of the brands that I really want to go for and do something with because they're super cool, So a lot of fashion brands like to collaborate with them as well. So it's not just about things that are like fashion-y, per se.
It's crazy because I went shopping for a hoodie, right? This was like 3 or 4 days ago. And I remember thinking, man, Under Armour used to be nobody. But now I go into these sections of the department stores and there's freaking Under Armour everywhere, man. It hit, and it's not just Under Armour anymore. It's its own entity, its own god, so to speak. But I remember back in the day, I'm like, what is this? What is this? What is this logo? What's this all about? I chose Champion instead of Under Armour, though. Sorry, Under Armour.
I like both. I like Champion too. Yeah. I mean, they're both good, but I think that Under Armour is going to really come up even more and be more of a household name because it just hits such a big audience.
Yeah. And you think back, like I remember just the marketing that was targeted towards me, like Under Armour just makes you feel like a badass, dude. Like,
right? Yeah.
All the commercials and stuff, they just really, like, it fires you up. It makes you want to wear it. Yeah. That's a whole nother probably a whole nother discussion we could have about that. But it's how it makes you feel, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all about fashion. It's supposed to make you feel better. It's emotional. No one really needs more clothes. You
No.
buy it because it makes you feel good, you know?
Right.
So what that does for you emotionally. But I think that you should do a sunglass collab and do a whole thing with sunglasses. I mean, that's your thing. And
Yeah.
I think that that could do really well. I think we kind of talked about that before, but I think you should really pursue it. I mean, I'll help you. It's
Help me out. Let's do it.
okay.
50-50 partners. You ready?
Okay. Okay.
I do. I tell people if I go to some just podunk gas station that's selling 3-day-old sushi and they've got cheap glasses up front, dude, I'll buy a pair of glasses every single time, and I don't care. I'm a collector of sunglasses. I love them, love them, love them.
But sometimes those $3 sunglasses from the gas station are the coolest shape and style, and they're perfect. And that's exactly what you
That's the thing. It's like
example.
I can't buy this. I can't buy this for less than $300 somewhere else, or $500. So I love the way it feels, love the way it looks, and all that. All right, let's check here. Balliet Brand, such a great point and perspective. Love this stream. Outstanding. We got Motley Investors in here. He's shouting out Red Squirrel, Hexacat John. What did he say here? Yeah.
Hey, Motley.
I was excited when we talked about her setting up a channel back in London. I knew it would be unique and draw a new audience.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. It was fun hanging out. I got to hang out with Motley. I had dinner with him in London, and then we took him to Chiltern Firehouse. So cool. We scoped out more places. Next time you go, Motley, some good restaurants.
Do you like house music?
Yeah.
I love house music, dude. When I go there, I want to go to a nice club or something there. Listen to some good house music.
All right,
some cocktails. I like that scene. I like that.
Okay. Oh yeah, that definitely exists here.
Cool. All right, let's check out. Yeah. So yeah. Nice to talk to you. Nice to get you in here. I want to talk about what we did this week. You wanted to kind of bring it up too.
Yeah, I really wanted to talk about it because, we decided to stream earlier, and then in between, I happened to see when I was watching Kinetics, one of his streams, and he was actually got really emotional in his stream talking about what you and Crypto Heartbeat did. And it's such an extraordinary story that you pulled together this emergency live stream, and then how much. The last time somebody checked, I heard 10,000, but I imagine there's more now that's been raised.
About 13 grand now. That was and Matt and I told ourselves that we were only going to do it for 30 minutes. This wasn't a thing I had no clue we were going to raise freaking $13,000 in 30 minutes. But John and I had been talking for a while. And a lot of people in the community know him. He's in Discord servers, and he really hypes up people's content. He's perfect. He's a really good dude. And I kind of noticed maybe over the past 6 months or so, he just wasn't as active, I guess. And we would talk back and forth on Twitter. I like to keep relationships with a lot of my folks who support me. And we're talking, and he's over the past couple months, it just keeps getting worse and worse. He had a lot of problems during Christmas, and it broke my heart. He's got kids, he's got a family, and life does that sometimes to people. And I made the point, we can get on Twitter all day and we can talk about the nice things we bought, or we can hype each other up. But there's real people out there with real problems, and I don't think that my channel would be worth anything if I didn't use it for good somehow. And I think Matt feels the same way. So we just decided to go live, and we said, we're going to raise some money for this dude. The thing that I think Kinetics talked about, and I talked about, he had 2 diapers left. He's getting paid $450 every 2 weeks. And the job market for what he does is rough. And we were able to raise $13,000 in about 48 hours off a 30-minute stream, and it's still coming in for him. And I just related so much with that because that's, I mean, that's how I grew up. I grew up in those situations. I grew up around those people. Like I'm not afraid or scared to admit that at all. So I know exactly what he's going through. And
Oh, I,
it's a survival thing. It's you're scared, your back's to a wall. You're doing everything you possibly can. How can you possibly have any type of, how can you plan for the future when you can't take care of yourself right now, you know? So I talked to him on the phone with him and his wife, and they're just blown away. And it's not about me at all. It's not about Matt. It's totally about him. I'm so glad that we were able to help him.
I mean, I'm like speechless. It's just, it just says so much about who you are, who Matt is, and this community. And I think that, not to make it, in terms of branding,
Mm-hmm.
that's like gonna be, I think, the heartbeat of literally of this community, and the heart and soul of it will be behind this kind of charitable and this humanitarian and philanthropic element, because we're gonna have so much, and it's about how can we make the world better. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but there are so many people out there suffering. I grew up in a really small town in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the kids in my
know.
school had free lunch, and
Yeah.
it's so sad. I mean, they just weren't eating the right food. Definitely weren't eating enough, and it was heartbreaking. And a lot of people live this way. And I just feel like if we're in a position of extreme wealth and power, then we have a responsibility to use it to help some of the less privileged and some of those who didn't get into Hex day one and didn't get to sacrifice pulse. They're just trying to get through their day and have enough food, and like figuring out how they're going to make 2 diapers work for a week.
Right.
You know, so I think that's really the most important and the most impressive part about this community are these kind of moments, because that's when you see who people really are. When somebody needs something and they're hurting and they're suffering, most people in human nature, and a lot of times that I've seen, people just want to kind of turn their back and just be like, well, that's their problem. But this community doesn't do that. And that's, I was just really blown away. And that's why I really wanted to talk about that tonight, because the more we can get this message out there and continue to help John, and also to think about others that we can help, then I think that this is part of, this too can go viral, but it's a good thing to go viral because it's a movement.
Exactly. And this is, I guess, to connect this to a broader perspective of how I feel about the world. You would not be able to the government would not be able to replicate that type of help in the amount of time that we did that. Growing up, for me, it's like on Christmas, we'd go to community Christmas toy drives, and my parents would pick out the presents. If we needed food, we would go to the church and we'd get food, and there's a lot to be said about community, because community is ultimately what matters. And I hate the narrative that community can't take care of itself, because that's complete trash. And in fact, we can take care of ourselves better than any government or any entity could, because we know best, and we can move quicker. We're not tied down with bureaucracy. John needed that money right away. We made that happen in 48 hours. He's got probably 98% of that money in his bank account right now. And I say 98% because every time I transfer him money, he gets more money. So just every single day. So I love it. I love it that we can depend on each other. I love it that we don't have to look somewhere else. We can keep it in house. We can take care of our people, circle the wagons. And I just hope that, one thing I told John, I said, listen, man, take this opportunity to square yourself away. Take this opportunity to go get a job that's worth it. And you don't have to have $450 every 2 weeks. You've got a buffer. You can plan now. Use the money wisely. Obviously, take care of your family. You can also just search for something that's going to be better for you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got some comments here. Okay. Yeah. Motley Investor, people always sleep on community, but this is why we win. Never seen a community like this before. Here's the other thing too. There's a lot of stuff that goes unsaid. There's a lot of stuff that happens that's unknown. And this is one example of hundreds or thousands of stories that have happened over the past couple of years. But this is what's so awesome about it. And I would encourage everybody listening right now, you don't even have to give money. All right. What you can do, you can give your time. If somebody needs to talk, you can talk to them. You can be there for people too. It's not just financial. And sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes. So let's see here. E. Anderson, you guys are curing me of my ever-present cynicism. I love the Hex community and the selfless service your channel practices. Thank you all. E. Anderson, don't ever lose your cynicism. All right. Don't ever lose your cynicism. It's a gift. I promise. So, tell me, you're not going to Vegas, right?
I might just go.
Yeah.
I haven't decided. It's towards the end of Paris Fashion Week, so I'd have to kind of skip out. I have to skip out of, that. So if I can, I really want to go.
Yeah. It's probably difficult though, because it's Paris Fashion Week and that's what you do, right?
Yeah, I'm supposed to be there, but I don't know. Maybe no one will notice if I just kind of go to Vegas for a few days. I go under an alias, so.
And I guess there's another event too in September. I think PulseCon or something to that effect, and that's in Vegas as well. So if you missed that one, I guess you could head out to the other one too.
Yeah, I could. So wait, are you going then to Vegas? You're going, right?
I am. I'm going. I booked my stuff a couple days ago.
And then are you? Imagine you will be speaking at the conference.
Yeah, they're going to let me speak. I don't know why, but they're going to let me. It's going to be like a redneck TED Talk. That's what we're going to do. So
masterclass in cynicism.
Dude, I'm going to give that room a huge dose of that. I promise you. And I think it's being streamed, so I really get to scale my cynicism out. Yeah.
Just spew it.
I am. Oh, no doubt. Everybody's going to be all happy-go-lucky the whole day, and here comes old Rags up on stage. Lock the doors. Game over. All right. I don't know. Like, I think I'm okay, like, speaking in front of people. Right?
Oh, you're fine. You're going to be fine.
Yeah. If I'm prepared.
With your dry humor, and your kind of Southern charm and,
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, and I'll style you. We'll get all your outfits sorted.
Yeah, so she agreed to style me. We talked about bib overalls. We talked about checkered shirts and a straw hat, right? That's what you told me.
Cowboy hat.
Yeah. All right, cool. I'm down, man. I'm excited. So if you were to style me, what would I wear?
I mean, it's gonna be different versions of a black T-shirt. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna find like the best black T-shirt, but different versions. Maybe something with a little logo, possibly. I don't know if you'll do that, but possibly. I'll see what your comfort zone is, and I'm gonna push you a little bit further.
Oh shoot!
It's fun.
Okay. I love it. All right. I'm gonna put my trust in your hands here. Thank you. Thank you.
No, you'll look good. You'll look good.
Thank you. All right. At Saki here, Rags, the Supreme Orator. At Saki, shut up, man. Just stop it. I love you, man, but just stop it, man. All right. What is this? Fashion Week in Paris versus the Excalibur. It's funny to pretend to not know about the other one. You guys are literally the ones bankrolling it. Who is? Me? What? I don't get that. I have no clue. No clue. Maybe you can explain a little bit better what you mean by that. All right. Keep on keeping on. Keeping on. Okay. But you guys are killing it lately. Well, she is. You know what's crazy? Like when I'm talking to people who want to like start up their own YouTube channels, I'm just amazed at how quickly you pick it up. I mean, you've been crushing it. Like every video that you do, it's just a really good production quality.
Oh, thank
So
you.
what have you been doing? Have you just been like, you've been watching people and learning and adapting and trying new things, or what's your thought on that? Has it gotten easier?
Okay. I watch a lot. I watch a lot of content.
Yeah.
And I try to like figure out, okay, like this person is really good at this, and so what they bring, whatever, right? And then you kind of like look at people. What it comes down to, the people who are the most successful, in my opinion, for the most part. There are a few people I don't understand why they're successful, but the most part I understand because you see their personality. You see their personality, the kind of person you want to hang out with, and it's
Sure.
good, clean content, you know? But the problem is that I'm so late to the party that there's already billions, like hundreds of people who are talking about Hex and TA and and game theory and whatever, and they're going to do it better than me.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had to think of something completely different. So I'm also watching a lot of fashion content and just figuring out like style from that. And then, yeah, so I'm just like watching a lot of things, and I'm basically just, everything's trial and error right now, and just
Yeah.
figuring out like what can I, what's going to hit and what are people going to be interested in. And, I don't know. So, but I try to always bring it back to how we can use whatever I'm talking about to apply to what we're doing, whether it be on our road to mass adoption, to onboarding, to branding, etc. So,
Sure. Um, what's this say? Briz says, I need a black V-neck that goes to my belly button.
oh, I'll hook you up. I can get you one
Yeah,
of those. You can
hook it
borrow
up.
mine.
Motley Investor says a black T-shirt will go well with white RH Prada moon
Yeah.
boots. That's outside of my comfort zone. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
I don't see you in the white
No,
movements.
because that'll make me like 6'9" if I do that. I don't think we should do that. Let's see here.
But you
I
need a
see
good pair of
Brandon.
boots. I'm gonna
Say
need to
what?
see all your shoes. Need to see like all your shoes because shoes are really important, and so we might have
Oh
to
gosh,
invest in
I
some
am
nice
just
shoes.
the token '90s kid, man. Like I got Air Max, tons of Air Max.
Well,
I
that's
got some,
cool.
yeah, and they're they're not common Air Max. They're pretty nice, weird colors. Um, what else? I got penny loafers, and I got all boot. I'll show you. I'll show you.
Okay.
So yeah, I see Brandon in a full suit, but his shirt is one of those fake tuxedo shirts.
It's like clipped on. The
Yeah,
band is like clipped on.
right. It's
And
like
underneath it's like
posing.
sleeveless or like
Yeah,
naked underneath. Like you put
exactly.
on paper.
I'm posing for my senior pictures, and they just put that top from here up. You know,
You should wear that to the conference. That'll be a big hit.
dude, that'd be
It'll go
badass.
viral.
Heck yeah. Valiant Brand says, so cool. We have a professional stylist and the best of the community, best of the best in this community. Yeah.
Elliot Brand, let me know. I'll hook you up too.
Dude, take her up on it, guys. I mean, this is awesome. You don't get this opportunity.
He's fun. He's like what, 17? He's 18. He's like a kid. You can dress him like a teenager. It's fun.
Well, I don't know how old he is, but
He's
he's one badass dude. I love him.
oh, he's so badass. I wish I had
Yeah.
my shit together when I was that young, but
You and me both, man. I'd own the world right now if I did. All right. What else we got? Yep. Sandra Larson says, so thrilled to see more women enter this realm. Awesome
Thank
content.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. So happy to like engage with women also in this community. It's really means a lot.
Absolutely. And I'm going to let you guys know too. Sandra Larson, she's got a business. I'm going to put the link to the business in the description.
Okay.
I think Matt has talked to Sandra before. She provides a really, really good service. So you guys can check her website out here. I'll put that in the description after this.
What kind of business, Brandon?
Sandra, I don't want to screw this up. So actually, let me just, I think I have it written down here.
Okay.
Somewhere. Yeah, she essentially lets people, she helps people with mental health, the long and short of it.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is one of the, she says, we all need to build resilience in adversity. Our nervous system runs the show. Anxiety, depression, chronic pain, sleep issues can all resolve through the practice of somatic techniques. Sandra teaches in a neural reset self-therapy training. and I've heard good things. Heard good things from people who have worked with her. So that will be in the description here. And actually, I think I can put her website in here.
Oh, that would be great. I'd love to check it out. That sounds life-changing because I think people, yeah, I think that that's a really good approach.
It's good that, you know what, it's hard as a man. It's difficult to talk to somebody about how you feel about things. Just the bottom line. It's very difficult, especially for men. But it has a massive impact, especially when you have an unbiased third party and you just don't have to hold stuff in. So that's what I love about it. And here's her. I think this is her scheduling link here, so you can check that out. And Sandra, put your full blown website in here too, if this isn't the right one. Yeah. And Balliet Brand is 25. Yeah.
Okay. 25. You look so young.
Well, when he's 35, he's going to look 25. And when he's 45, he's going to look 35. So it's a blessing. I was a late bloomer. I probably looked 10 years old until I was 30. And then I had a growth spurt. I shot up 2 or 3 inches, like in my late 20s. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. I did, man. It took me a while to fill out, man. It took me a while. All right, cool. Awesome, Sandra. Stoked for you here. All right. So what do you see? What do you see Hex doing? What do you see Pulse Chain doing? What do you see PulseX doing in the next year or two? I know you got your opinion.
This is like the most high pressure question because people are like, what you said. I'm like, oh God. Okay. I think, Hex. It's going to be interesting because we're going to have Hex launching on another chain. So we're going to have, that's called Hex, right? And then here in Hex is eHex. We'll have Hex and eHex. I think it's going to be so fascinating to watch how that plays out, because one's going to dip and the other one's strong, but it's never, whenever one falls, everyone's going to go buy it and it's going to come back up, and it's going to be a seesaw, I think, a little bit.
Yeah. I'm totally putting you on the spot too. So I just like to see
you so are. You so are putting you on the spot. But I mean, I think it's going to be a good year for Hex. I think it's going to be a very good year. I think that it's going to be, I think the most difficult to predict will be Pulse and PulseX, because it's just really about, I was talking with John Wick earlier, and he was saying that it's really about how much we can get people to participate on a regular basis on the Pulse chain, whether it be through yield farming and trading, and so with the NFTs, and if we're able to achieve what Richard has set out to achieve in terms of having half the pair for free and et cetera, and get people over to participate and to get their free money, it could be incredible, right?
Sure.
And I think that PulseX, now that the buy and burn is not automatic, just depending on how often that's going to take place, and also how much we're going to be able to accrue in fees in terms of like how many transactions per day. We're starting with a lot of wallets, like I think way more than PancakeSwap had when it first started. So we're going to hit the ground running. And I think that there's going to be such high liquidity that we're going to see a lot of action happening. So I think that both PulseX and Pulse Chain are going to be really exciting to watch. But for the long-term game for me, and this is kind of going against what I've been hearing, but I'm really in for Pulse Chain just because of what it represents. It's an entire network, and what's going to be coming over, and just looking at the kind of projects that are being developed now. I think a lot of projects, I'm talking to a lot of people who have crypto startups who are interested in coming over to Pulse Chain once Pulse Chain launches. So if we can get really good projects to come over, then I think that it could be, just like absolutely crazy.
Yeah, prior to me getting into Hex and Pulse Chain, the way that I structured my portfolio, I would have like 50% of my portfolio would consist of Bitcoin and or Ethereum at any given time. And then I would take maybe a couple mid caps, like top 10 or top 20 projects, and I'd
Mhm.
have about 25% of my portfolio in some of the recognized name brands.
Mhm.
And then I would take, the other, maybe another portion. I would take a small amount. I would put it in the meme coins. I'd put like,
Mhm.
very, very small, 1 to 3% of my portfolio goes into that, because if those hit, they hit hard. And now I think, with kind of echoing what you said, I'm going to take that same concept and I'm going to roll that into Pulse Chain. I'll probably have 60% of my portfolio comprised of Pulse.
Mm.
Um, and then, we've got the DEX, we've got Hex as well. I'm going to get copies. So I'm going to be DCAing in to Hex, Pulse
Mhm.
X, and
Mhm.
Pulse Chain probably for a year or two. And that's actually one of my next videos, is going to outline what people need to be doing right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that they can't do anything until Pulse Chain launches, but that's not true. You can be mowing lawns now. You can be
Yeah.
doing DoorDash. You can start your DCA right now.
Yeah.
Because, if you're, let's say you make $100 one weekend, and that $100, 10,000 X's, that's $1,000,000. So
Exactly.
don't think of it as 100. Think of it as
Yeah.
your DoorDash or your 4 hours here doing this or that. You're actually getting paid $1,000,000 for that 4 hours. And
Exactly.
that's the
Yeah.
mindset that people need to adopt. And that's also the mindset that we need to adopt as a community, to create people who are more diamond handed, because ultimately, when you are that way, you win a lot more than everybody else wins. So,
It's the
um,
long game. You're exactly right, Brandon. It's the long game. And I think it's about planning, because there's going to be an opportunity. There's so many things to buy. There's PHEX, and then there's the incentive token. I mean,
yeah.
there's so, and something else is going to come out, and you're going to want to buy that too. So you want to buy in, get in early, because then that just, the returns on that are just exponential. It's life changing. It's like you said, $100. You don't look at it as 100. You look at it as 1,000,000.
Hmm.
So whatever you can do. I mean, I'm thinking the same way, of just like all my financial planning is just to spend as little as possible and put all my free income into,
Yeah,
Pulse, X, and Hex, and PHEX. PHEX.
absolutely. There is no better opportunity. And we'll talk. Motley Investor says, Rags, I don't think I've heard you say when you got in and how you got in. Yeah. So I would say that Twitter targeted me with the top hat dude probably about 2 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, Richard Hart. So I followed him on Twitter, and I was not convinced. He was more entertaining for me to watch him and watch his videos. And while I was sizing him up, everybody was getting really, really rich, and I was not getting as rich.
Mhm.
Because I wasn't involved in the Hex. I was not involved in the Hex until 2021, early part of 2021.
Mhm.
And I really, really got involved and started making content. And I had a group, a Telegram group prior to Hex, the Rags to Riches Telegram group. And I think that after the video that I saw Richard destroy Alex Saunders,
Mhm.
and then everything that came out after that about how Alex Saunders had swindled, probably millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin from influencers all over the internet. And to have Richard step up and put his neck out there, take the screenshots of the chats, put it out there. That's what really, I said, okay, he's legit. He's legit. Um, and it took me on that bell curve. I'm the guy in the middle, the dumbass in the middle. It just takes too long. The guy on the left-hand side gets in. The guy on the right-hand side gets in. But the guy in the middle just gets poor. So that's what I got really poor before I got into Hex. So I started making content, made a video to show all my people in Telegram, talk about Hex, talk about how to stake. I think I showed some of my I showed people how to stake, and just did and I just started diving into the code, diving into everything that it said, because I wanted to understand. It's very important for me to understand things before I talk about them, because if somebody presses me on it, I want to speak intelligently. And everybody in the Rags to Riches group now, I mean, we're all in. It just makes so much sense. And I'm really glad, because people do not understand, like, day one or pre day one, the power that you're going to have investing in something like this.
Yeah.
And this isn't conjecture. It's like really horrible projects over the course of 3 years average about a 1700x. 1700x. And people are like, oh, well, that's not at 10,000. Okay, so you're going to tell me, 1700, let's just say that's what it does in 2 to 3 years. It's $1.7 million if you put 1,000 in. So huge opportunity. Huge opportunity. Let's see. All right.
Biggest opportunity in the history of mankind.
It is.
Financially, it is.
It is.
It's crazy that people are just like, it's volatile. I'm like, oh God, okay.
Yeah. And those people they're destined to be wrecked until they're not. And a lot of people don't get to be in on day one projects. They don't get to do the pre-sales, etc., because they're not accredited. They don't have enough money. They don't get whitelisted. That's what's cool about this. Anybody who wants to can participate. And you're a very, very, very small subset of people on the entire planet Earth, just a little dot that's going to have access to this. So it's awesome. Hextoshi says, Brandon said 50% plus 25% plus 60%. No, 50 to 60%. Hextoshi. 50 to 60%. Probably 60% pulse, 25% after that. And then we'll kind of split it up from there. Hex, et cetera, et cetera. What does it say? The days of 480 resolution cam of Brandon. That's right. Back in the day when I first started, 480. It was rough. It was rough. I was in my bedroom with my guitar that I don't know how to play. How about that? Yeah. Motley Investor says, glad to have you with us now. And for what it's worth, I think you're on the high end of the bell curve. Gee golly, Motley. You just know how to make a guy's heart just explode, man. Thank you. I'm gonna hug you. I'm gonna hug you 3.5 times the next time I see you. Okay. All right.
This is funny.
And then close to an OG, right? No, I'm not an OG. I'm not a Hex OG. I am not. I tell people constantly that I am standing on the backs of giants, and they have gotten me to this point. I'm just there documenting this on YouTube, and it's cool. So those were great, Brandon. Honestly, if I didn't start watching you back then, not sure I would have caught you until much later. Yep, I know it. I know it. So tell us more about what this year looks like for you in terms of fashion. You are really, I see you positioning yourself rather as somebody that is going to be that liaison and that go-between and that person that's really going to make big waves eventually. Is that kind of where your head's at?
I would say that I'm just leveraging all the relationships that I've had, some of them for a long time, and using them to introduce them to this community and to give this community a chance to interact with really great brands and really great and really high profile individuals, influencers, and celebrities. And but the brand side, I think, is going to be really important just because of our spending power. So some of the conversations that I'm having right now are like so exciting. Like I can't talk about things. I don't want to jinx them, but they're like,
right.
Like I want to die. They're so good. Yeah.
Big time.
Like really big. So hopefully even if just one or two of them work out, then that'd be really good this year. So cool. I want to stick around because otherwise I'm not going to be in a position where I can help. So I want to stick around in fashion for a little bit longer so that I can actually, use my influence in that community to help this community.
What's crazy to me is if you just know a little bit about crypto, you are light years ahead of anybody in the world, right? I had an instance recently here where I'm sitting in a room with a bunch of doctors, sitting in a room with a bunch of like 2 lawyers, an accountant, an engineer, really, really, really smart people, right? They all probably spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a piece to get their education. They're really, they're good at what they do. And I'm in this room and it didn't matter anything about their education. It doesn't matter anything like that because I'm the only person in the room that can speak intelligently to them
Yep.
about crypto. And that's a huge amount of power because the world is moving towards this and the world is there's going to be a heavy demand for people that know what they're talking about when it comes to cryptocurrencies, because it doesn't matter how much education you have. It's like the Smith and Wesson, the firearm. It made every man equal. Well, crypto in a way can make every man equal.
Yeah.
Because you either know it or you don't, and if you don't know it, you're going to get left behind. So I just think it's cool. My whole intro is like, listen, yeah, I really did barely graduate high school, but that doesn't matter because
it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You know, MIT's putting all of their lectures on YouTube, you know, a lot of their lectures for free. Like YouTube is amazing. The internet's amazing. And I think that crypto is also going to highlight like traditional education needs to be changed because it just can't apply anymore. I don't have to go to a building to hear somebody talk. I can just go online and hear the exact same things and come to the exact same conclusions.
I mean, you could literally teach yourself all about crypto from watching YouTube. That's how I did it.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've got a question for you.
Okay.
Please ask Korypto Stylist if she knows why women's pants pockets are such nonsense. I have to know. You can't fit more than a dime bag in there. Why are they made like this? It's crap. I gotta know. Bitfinis, thank you.
Okay, that's actually a really good point. And the problem is that if the pocket goes too far, like if it's too deep, when you have a pocket, there's a lining, and usually because women's clothes tend to be more fitted, you're going to see that lining through it. So it doesn't look nice. So they make them really shallow. And so it's almost like a fake pocket. So it doesn't really hold much. It really does suck. But it's just to protect the line of the pants because women are already so self-conscious around the hip area. So anything that adds volume or whatever, then it just won't sell because it won't look nice. It won't be flattering. That's the number one biggest consideration in all, especially trousers, pants have to be flattering. So that's why.
Yeah. See, Bitfinis, you got more than you bargained for there, huh? You're trying to be a smart ass, and she gave you the answer. Thank you.
No, but it's a good point because you can't put anything in there. So. Brandon, I watched your stream this week with, is it Gym Rat? Is it Gym Rat?
Crypto Gym Rat.
Okay. And so while I was watching, no, he's awesome. He's so entertaining. I've never laughed so much. I'm like, this guy's awesome.
I know.
And I mean, and so I was thinking, I'm like, well, you know, and also I was on a live stream with Hexy Bastard. I wasn't streaming with him. I just watched it because I saw that he was going live and I wanted to kind of check him out. And I was checking him out. It was literally a bunch of dudes on a Friday night talking about dating and dating apps and talking about girls. And I felt like almost like a fly in the, like I wasn't supposed to be there. So I kind of announced that I was there. I was like, oh, hey, this conversation is really funny. And they're like, oh God, a girl's here. Yeah. And I was thinking, you know, because I know that he was saying something about like what he can bring to the table is like advice on dating or like advice on fitness and like getting guys, like helping them not be so socially awkward. And I'm like, I guess there's such an interest around that, but I think it would be really cool if somebody, and I'm not the person to do this, but if somebody were to put together a reality show that's like a dating show, whether it be like The Bachelor or Love Island or one of those formats, but make it around this community. Yeah. I think that it would be a hilarious one. I think Gym Rat will definitely have to be on it.
Oh, Jesus. I can't even believe you uttered his name in this stream because you're just going to encourage the hell out of him now. He's going to clip all of this and he's going to share it. I had a blast on that stream. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. No. He was like, yeah, I know fitness, blah, blah. I was like, all right, let's talk about it. Let's fire up the stream. And most of the time, people don't take me up on it. So I get in there and like 5 minutes into it, I'm simultaneously, my mind's blown. I'm freaking out because I know YouTube's going to rug pull my channel now. But at the same time, I'm laughing my ass off. I'm like, this guy, I gotta know this guy.
No, it was hilarious. I mean, he alone could take X viral because everyone will watch him because he's so entertaining. I'm like, okay, we need to do something with him. I love Gym Rat.
Balliot says they're streaming. They're
Oh,
streaming
good.
tomorrow.
Okay, I'll make sure to watch it.
Great guy. Oh gosh.
Yeah, that was really fun.
It was. Let's see here. My advice. Yeah. Motley makes a good point. I listened to Richard's last interview and really picked it apart and realized how foreign all the terminology he uses must be to the average person not familiar with crypto.
True.
Guys, I'm learning every single day. There is such. I would say it took me a solid 3 or 4 years just to feel comfortable with to be able to speak intelligently about this content. And even I remember watching tutorial videos on what blockchain is and what does decentralized mean with regards to blockchain. And it's like there's a lot of information out there, but there's a lot of people that don't know how to teach it to people.
But I think, like, for example, Expensive Taste is doing a series of tutorials. They're really good. I mean, they're so well written. She has a voice like velvet, and she looks great, and it's written. They're really succinct, and it's very understandable. So I just feel like it's great that she has a whole series, and she's creating a whole series. And you could just say, "Here you go. Here's like a gift set of Expensive Taste." Is like on, and that's kind of like almost like a class, a course in and of itself. I think that's, a good way to do it.
Is that through is it through Discourse Syndicate?
It is through Discourse Syndicate.
Okay.
But I think she's smashing it.
Good. So if you guys need some tutorials and stuff, check her out. Just go to Discourse Syndicate on YouTube, and that's what we need. You can do a tutorial, and it's sometimes it sounds like people are just reading out of reading the definition out of a book, and then they just move on. It's like that doesn't teach me that concept. You got to break it down further. But
it has good B-roll. I think visuals. I think a lot of YouTubers don't use B-roll enough.
Correct.
So you use really cool graphs. I like them because they're really simple. But visuals are really important with crypto, because then you can kind of show how things move from here, and then A equals A, and then the four, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, if you can visualize it, it's a lot easier to explain because it's so complicated. But Motley, you're right. Like, my friends can't watch Richard. They'll just be like, this is like Greek.
And it's Greek to, I know it's Greek to 75% of the people in the community. Because sometimes I'm stumped. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Do I really understand what this means, or do I not? So then I got to go back and I got to check myself and kind of learn it for myself. So, and that's another, I had a book idea, Crypto for Dumbasses. I think that would sell really, really well in this community and beyond. If I can use my cynicism to my advantage there. So we might do that.
I think you should. You should.
Yeah. So cool. We're about an hour into this.
Okay.
Is there anything that you would like to touch on any further before we call it a night?
No, I think that we covered a lot. Everything from John to branding, virality, and gym rat.
Oh Lord.
I'm gonna keep talking about him.
Cool. Yeah, we covered a lot. I appreciate you hopping on here. I think you're doing really, really good. Yeah, I'm looking. I wish I could like press fast forward and see where you are in about 6 months to 12 months, because it's going to be completely different from where you are now in a really good way. So you're doing a damn good job, and you're executing well, and it's good to see you building your brand out here and helping folks out.
Thanks. Same for you. I can't wait to see how the year progresses for you as well. I think it's going to be incredible to watch.
Well, this entire year hinges upon whether or not I live through tonight. So that's very important. Okay.
Good luck. And Motley, you're right. The series is really good. They did really invest in that production. It was nice. Okay.
All right, guys, we're going to do, I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay. No. We're going to do a countdown. We're going to hop on out of here. Let me see if there's any other pertinent comments. No, just from Bitfinis. That doesn't matter. Okay, cool. All right. We're going to hop on out, and I'll see you in the green room.
All right. Bye.